Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV welcomes you to our coverage of the Tech Beach Retreat Regional Roadshow Mixer right here at Regis in New Kingston under the theme, The Future of Tech in the Caribbean. I'm your host, Amita Pasadbe. Please stay tuned for highlights.
Welcome, one and all. Firstly, apologies. I was planning to wear my tux today, but we were really working up to the last minute before you came to get this center up and running. There's still a few minor touches for us to put on, but I hope you like what you see. So you are here at Regis. We are the world's largest provider of workplace solutions, ranging from products for if you work from home and you just want a more professional image for your business, if you need to pop in to use a meeting room, or for our core products, which are office space. Fully furnished, or bells and whistles included, from your telecoms, IT, even down to your gourmet coffee or during the day. So if you want to have a look to see what we have to offer, please grab one of the Regis team, and we'll be happy to show you around. We also have some goodie bags for you to take away when you leave. And in them, you would have a free lounge pass. So we want you to come and test out our product. If you want to leave your business cards, we will be also doing a prize draw for a free meeting room for a day. And also, we're running a promotion. So anyone that signs up for Office Space before the end of November, signs up for at least 6 months, we will give you 3 additional months free of charge. So that's a 33% discount. So looking forward to seeing all of those opportunities and those business cards flying in. So thank you very much for popping down, and please grab one of the team if you want to have a look around.
You know, I did a self-guided tour by myself around the space earlier this evening. And, you know, I am shocked at how many offices are in here. It is insane. So when you imagine all of these offices being filled with entrepreneurs and businesses all doing work and the kind of energy that can happen in this space, you really know that we're creating something special here. So thank you again, Darren. And now, Kirk, no wine for you, because I'm going to introduce you right now, the man of the evening, who is going to moderate our panel and introduce our panelists, Kirk Hamilton.
Some people in the room may be asking, what is Tech Beach? I always am fascinated but also thankful when people are willing to come out and hear about something that they have not much a clue of. So that's appreciated. Tech Beach is a platform designed to really set firm an ecosystem in the Caribbean around technology and innovation. Most of us in this room are savvy individuals within the corporate world or business world, or we're entrepreneurs, and we all yearn for a different Jamaica, a different Caribbean. A Caribbean that is forward-thinking, a Caribbean that is faster-paced, a Caribbean that ideas can thrive in, and so someone can come up with something and turn it into even more. And as a 32-year-old individual, I always say to people that the challenge I've faced is, for my 3 decades on Earth, the Jamaica I know, as wonderful as it is, has never seen economic growth in any meaningful way, and I've never witnessed transformation. We're now starting to see a change on the island, and we're very excited about it, but what we feel needs to happen is there needs to be greater levels of opportunity for collaboration. There needs to be obviously greater levels of access to capital, but a lot of times we talk about these things without understanding the fundamentals of how these elements interact and how these things come together and really help to create a true economy, right? There's a conversation nowadays in Jamaica increasingly about inclusive growth. You'll hear that term over and over and over. I'll share with you as we step into this panel discussion and as I give you a little insight into Tech Beach, I usually say to people that a lot of these terminologies come into play in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean 5 or 10 years too late. No different than when we talk about technological innovations and such like that. And so if you think about what inclusivity really means, ultimately we're starting a conversation that says outside the walls of this gathering, there are people who should be involved in our economy who for some reason, for just about all of our entire lives, have been left out of the conversation. And it is suddenly happening that our private sector is acknowledging the reality that the more people who can buy my product in a sustainable manner, the better off I am, right? Personally, I don't think it's rocket science, but it is a shift and a trend that has happened in the world that has actually led to the creation of a lot of the platforms that we aspire to and want to see be successful in the region. So when you think about platforms like Airbnb and Uber and the conveniences that these things deliver to us, ultimately they're built on the pillar of inclusive growth, because what they're saying is we can democratize an industry, bring more people into it by utilizing technology to bring down the costs.
The Good Life, your weekly dose of information on nutrition, wellness, and fitness. Discover ways to nurture your mind, body, and spirit.
The theme of tonight was, or is, the future of technology in the Caribbean. And I'll just go ahead and try to shape the conversation, but ultimately, you know, within Tech Beach, we deal with a lot of emerging technologies that seemingly are shifting the conversation and changing the landscape around the world. And what we really want to look at this evening is, where are we now? Where can we be? And I don't think it would actually hurt to discuss a bit where we're coming from. And I'll just set the tone by saying I think we've come a long way despite the way that we have to go.
I recently started my own tech company, Innovate 10X. I do believe it's a world of digital opportunities right now. I've actually left my safety of my 9-to-5 job. I had a very senior position at JMMB. And I think it was about time for me to look and see where I could actually, you know, see where I could make use of these opportunities. And the way I see it now, especially in the Caribbean, and I'll include the Latin American market, you're talking about 40 million people, right? And most of the solutions, digital solutions worldwide, if people buy them and try to implement them, they typically just don't work. Because what works in another country, their unique situation, is different from what exists in the Caribbean. And therefore, I see where there are opportunities for us in the Caribbean to still learn from what's going on elsewhere in the world, to partner with those that have actually gone before us and bring those solutions to the region.
Being within the ICD group, which you can explain to folks the makeup of the ICD group, but being within an organization like that has been around for a long time, you're charged with leading transformation there, which includes a digital focus. I guess at an enterprise level, what do you see happening, especially within an enterprise level organization that has been around?
Right. Okay, so thank you. Hi, everybody. Hi. Okay, everybody's plugged in. Great. So I think the perspective that I bring is actually a bit more unique than just being inside of ICD Group, because most of my working career has been away. And so I've been with ICD for the last 5 years, really charged with, as Kirk has said, transformation. And it started out as digital, but then what we had to create inside is what I think most companies here in Jamaica are missing the mark on, and that is recognizing that in order for digital transformation to be successful, there's a significant amount of people and cultural transformation that has to take place first. And why I say that I think that a lot of corporations are missing that is because outside of even digital transformation, I don't find that in Jamaica there is a significant amount of investment in people and culture, at least not when compared to other countries that I've worked in. And what happens is they tend to push the technology first, push for the change. You know, we need to automate, and you know, we have too many of these things not working, and too much paper, and too many books, and all of that. And so the CIOs will drop a new piece of technology in and say, okay, use that, right? And then everybody's like, okay, make my life more hell, why don't you, right? And so what I've discovered is that if you can enroll the leadership of the organization in where you're headed, from what does transformation look like when you actually have it, right? Then you can help with getting the people that have to actually deliver that transformation to help you get there.
Lauren, I'd like you to give us, from the kind of startup perspective, especially in the age of bringing in completely new solutions into the market, what you see happening in the landscape and how you see things going at the moment.
All right, thanks, Kirk, and good night, everyone. So I'm Lauren Pearton, I'm the CEO of Blue Dot, and we are a decision support services company. In other words, we provide insights via research and data to our clients. You asked initially, you know, where we're coming from, and I think that, you know, like you and I had discussions before, I think it's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur in Jamaica right now. I think there's a lot of opportunities that are present now, especially that were not present when I started Blue Dot 4 years ago, or even when I first went to the Branson Center in 2013 as a little hustler. So, you know, just things such as venture capital or angel investment or even just capital and you know, was non-existent. And now we have all of this capital that's available for young entrepreneurs like myself. SSL, they just invested in us, thanks Lamar. And you know, the outlook is really good.
What I would get to know is, I think everyone on this panel can actually give some insight into technologies that you think will drive the transformation in Jamaica. And this is definitely very open prediction, like, you know, this is not a class, but I would love to hear from you all, you know, as we hear about things like artificial intelligence and the blockchain and such like that.
Before we get into that, I always have to raise this issue. So in Jamaica, it is nearly impossible to register IP that is not a portion or some sort of mechanical device, because the Patent Act is from 1860-something. So I think that's a good segue, because that is a prohibitor of tech here. It is nearly impossible, and I'm hoping that some people help me to lobby the government for that, from that point of view.
Okay, great. So I think that it's really more basic types of technology that are going to really kickstart things here. And I say that because, so we've, you know, I brought Lauren in a couple of times to pitch to different entities within the group. So for those of you that don't know, ICD has 9 groups within the portfolio now, right? And for the more traditional legacy companies, you know, data is really, really, really important. And so I find that any type of technology that has to do with business intelligence or analytics, I think that type of technology will be quite foundational and is something that people can buy into because they get it. They see how it's going to benefit their businesses. And so I think that he's actually in a great space. So anything that is doing analysis, I think for sure.
I think cloud technologies is where it is. So the larger corporations, they would have gotten a head start because they're big, they have the large IT budget, they have this CRM system, Oracle financial systems and all that. The small enterprise, if they're smart, they can sign up maybe $30 a month US and have a very good CRM system for 5 users or an accounting system that rivals what some of these large organizations are doing. So you can actually have a very efficient organization that rivals the technology that other the larger institutions may have. The cloud technology, like Google technology in terms of sharing and collaboration, that's actually available to everybody. So a lot of these business people, they're so busy, you know, dealing with the sales and the accounting. Again, that's opportunities for entrepreneurs and tech companies to work with these small enterprises and show them that, look, I can really make it a lot more efficient. Robotic process automation has like taken on like wildfire over there. It's like where you're giving each person their own personal robot. That's how they're actually pitching it now. But this again is cloud-based technology.
Dodge & Global offers a CPA scholarship program to team members who join our team. A career in accountancy at Dodge & Global is a great choice and can offer you excellent job prospects. We believe that an accounting education is the greatest gift you can give yourself or anyone else. Few gifts make as significant an impact as the gift of an accountancy education with a job. It's a contribution that lasts a lifetime in the form of learning, opportunity, and success. Join our team and get the opportunity to be part of our CPA scholarship program. This scholarships awards program will be administered by the HR department of Dodge & Global. Requirement: first degree in accounting. Employed at Dodge & Global. Willing to pursue the CPA examination. Here's how to apply. Submit application to Staff Accountant, Dodge & Global. Email sa@dodgen.com.
My name is Herbert Chung, Executive Chairman, Co-Founder, Honeybun 1982 Limited. You're watching Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Regis is the global leader in service offices. So service offices here at Regis is all about flexible workspaces and flexible working. So businesses, young startups, entrepreneurs, or existing businesses who are looking for ready-to-use serviced offices where you pay one invoice a month and it's all inclusive. This is the place for you. Whether it's a 4-person outfit or a 20-person business, you can get an office for a day, for a week, for a month, for a year, and our office space is our core product. On top of our kind of core product of office space, we have the virtual office where we will manage your mail, we will manage your answering, we'll manage your telephone, so telephone answering, mail management. And depending on your level of needs, your level of requirements, we have different types of virtual office products. We also have meeting rooms, so clients in the center who need a boardroom or need a project meeting room, they can rent that for a half a day, for an hour, for 2 hours, and they get a discount as clients here. But it's also open to non-clients who need meeting rooms and want a very professional and productive environment. We provide that service too. And then we've got Business Lounge membership, and that membership allows you access to 3,000 Regis lounges right across the world. So if you're a member here, if you're in Miami or London or New York or Singapore, you can go to the Regis Centre, you'll turn on your laptop and you'll connect to the Wi-Fi seamlessly. In addition to that, we've got co-working if you just want to rent a desk by the month. We also offer that service. So there's a lot of flexible working solutions and workspaces for the modern day business person, the modern day businesses. So when you look at what we have in our centres in Barbados or in London or in Trinidad or in Hong Kong, we get a diverse mix of businesses. So we're very excited about launching here in Jamaica, launching here in New Kingston. And in a few weeks' time, we'll start to see the community here develop. And we'll start to see a nice thriving business centre happening here. With it's going to be very interesting to see the types of customers and the types of clients we get coming in our door.
So tonight we explored what is happening in the global landscape from a technology and innovation perspective and the possibilities for development here in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. How these new innovations are affecting the global business environment, how it's affecting us. Ultimately, we started a discussion on how people in the Caribbean can start building their own solutions, what needs to happen for companies to start going from zero to big enterprise in little to no time, in the way that we've seen things happen with organizations that we all know like Airbnb, Uber, and such like that, which in many cases didn't exist 10, even 15 years ago. Ultimately, what we offer is an all-inclusive campus-style environment where the best in the Caribbean meet the best in the world. And the idea generally is that people are able to connect in a very meaningful way. It's a very immersive experience. We primarily explore emerging technologies, right? So we've sparked a conversation that is not very typical in Jamaica. Things like blockchain technology, robotics, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality. But we look at them from a very practical level. What is happening in business, how things are shifting, and what we are known for is our ability to attract the best in the world, the best in industry in these spaces, right? Including, of course, our very own best in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean as well, right? So some of the speakers include people like Michelle Romano, who's a dragon on Dragon's Den, and also the founder of a company called Clearbank. Founder of Vonage, a gentleman by the name of Jeff Pulver, who's joining our platform for the second time. We have people coming from companies like MasterCard, Airbnb, Google, Facebook, and such like that. We actually have an official Facebook workshop happening at Tech Beach for digital marketers. But then on the other side, we have people like Nadine Matthews from NCB, who's leading the transformation of Jamaica's largest bank. We have people like the CEO of JMB Bank, Jerome Smalling. We have the CEO of BCIC Insurance, which is doing they're doing a lot of interesting things in the insurance space. A gentleman by the name of Peter Levy. So we also tend to look at what is happening on the ground and try and bring those conversations to the table as well, and give them a global platform to share what they're doing with the rest of the world.
So we're here tonight at the Tech Beach Retreat. Mixer, your thoughts?
I thought it was amazing. I mean, what Tech Beach is really good at is bringing the discussion that's happening at Silicon Valley and other places to Kingston, to Jamaica, and we did that again tonight. I mean, we talked a lot about how can we incorporate blockchain and AI into technology and into companies in Jamaica, and the insights that the panel gave were really, really good. So,
all right. Talk to us about Tech Beach itself. You've been before.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I've been every year that it has happened, and every year I can't walk away from the panels that are there because it's so engrossing to have the quality and the caliber of the people that are discussing at a very high level these changes that are going to affect every single human being for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So it's not missable at all. If you're interested in the trends in tech and the future of tech, you have to go to Tech Beach. There's nowhere else to go. Yeah.
The center, Branson Center officially moved to Kingston in 2017 after being Mobay since 2011. How was the transition and why?
It's been really fantastic because 70% of our entrepreneurs are actually based in Kingston, all of our partners, the media, etc. So we feel like we've really had more of an impact and we're more integrated into the entrepreneurship ecosystem being based here in the business hub of Jamaica. And I think we actually also changed our strategy to target scale-up entrepreneurs, growth stage entrepreneurs instead of startups, and that has had really amazing results. Lauren is is one of our entrepreneurs. He was on a panel here. He got a great investment this year from SSL Ventures too. And we have a lot of other entrepreneurs like that are investment ready, and you're going to see a lot more of them in the coming months.
What are your thoughts about the Tech Beach Retreat mixer this evening?
I think it's excellent. This is my first time here at the Mingle, and it would be my first time going to the retreat soon. I feel like it's a family here, brothers and sisters, very like-minded persons, and I'm excited to learn. I mean, I'll contribute where I can, but it's really about learning and sharing where we can, you know?
As someone that has a tech-based business, what would you say are some big challenges that are facing, I guess, startup businesses within the technology industry?
Well, you know, a lot of one of the challenges, especially for small businesses, is knowing what is out there. So, researching what's the best systems available to you to meet your needs. From a simple point-of-sale system, there are so many out there you can buy, from the hardware to the software, etc. Those are challenges in and of itself. Another thing that maybe, you know, companies don't really pay close attention to is like security. To be really conscious of the risks involved with what you do take on board with your business. So there are a number of others, but those are two ones that jump to mind.
So talk to us about Growth Tech. What is it that you guys do?
Well, Growth Tech is a company that was conceptualized in 2016. So what we're doing is pretty much spreading connectivity in Jamaica, making connectivity like oxygen available to everyone everywhere. And with that, it segues nicely into this Tech Beach event, where they speak a lot about creating an ecosystem of technology to foster growth in Jamaica.
So talk to us about your company, Innovate 10X.
Okay, Innovate 10X is a passion of mine, where I'm actually looking at helping companies go along their digital transformation. So we know that there's a lot of technology out there. There's artificial intelligence, blockchain, big data. It's all happening now. It's now becoming mainstream. But 95% of companies in Jamaica doesn't understand anything about the technology, literally. They're still struggling with accounts payables, inventory management, basic CRM, much less to worry about, where new and emerging technology can help them along their journey.
The panel discussion earlier spoke to challenges within our tech industry here. What would you say is one of the bigger ones?
It's actually still a matter of a lack of funding. I think most banks or people with the capital don't understand how to fund technology. They're still looking like a physical asset, a motor vehicle, a real estate. A funding a tech business. That's a big problem, because tech business is usually built on an idea that you want to produce something that is software based. It's not something that's tangible, something that you can actually touch and feel, right? But we need more people to understand that, to be able to invest in it and feel comfortable that if you stick with the entrepreneur, if they're very determined, you're like to actually make a very good return. Similar like if you're investing in a manufacturing or a distribution company.
And that's it for Business Access TV's coverage of the Tech Beach Retreat Regional Roadshow mixer right here at Regis in New Kingston. I've been your host, Amita Prasad-Webb, and thanks for tuning in. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
I started out selling out of the trunk of my car.
If everybody think the same way, everybody going in the same line.
Being an entrepreneur takes everything that you've got.
Weekends? What's weekends? We work on a weekend.
There are real opportunities everywhere you look.
But you have to have the passion.
If I do my part well, then everything is okay.
We believed in ourselves and our families believed in us.
Being convinced of this great opportunity, why we are all here doing what we're doing now.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
It's Friday and you're just in time for another exciting edition of Jamaica Magazine. The pages today are loaded with information. You will learn about various non-conventional teaching methods for students with special needs and get lost in a lively discussion on corporal punishment. Don't you dare move a muscle. I'm Sandra Johnson and I'll be back before you know it.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, February 28. Sectors in the services industry recorded strong growth levels in the last quarter of 2019. This is outlined in the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ's review of economic performance for the October to December 2019 period. PIOJ's Director General, Dr. Wayne Henry, says hotels and restaurants recorded the highest growth of 3.5%, followed by finance and insurance services at 3.4% and electricity and water supply at 2.7%. Other service industry subsectors recording growth were transport, storage and communication, real estate, renting and business services, wholesale and retail trade, repair and installation of machinery, and producers of government services. Meanwhile, agriculture, forestry, and fishing was the high performer under the goods-producing industry with growth of 3%.
This performance was supported by an increase of 4.2% in the area of the domestic crops reaped. The crop group vegetables accounted for the largest share of domestic crops reaped, that was 36.2%, and recorded a 2.9% increase in output. Total hectares under vegetable production increased by 0.3%.
Minister of Local Government and Community Development, Desmond McKenzie, broke ground recently for the rehabilitation of the Hopewell Market in Hanover. The $20 million work will be done over a 4-month period. The existing facility will be reinforced, expanded, and get a new roof, in addition to sanitary facilities and the installation of plumbing and electrical fixtures. The project also includes plans for a parking lot to facilitate vendors who operate from motor vehicles. Minister McKenzie says the project reaffirms government's commitment to the improvement of market infrastructure across the island.
Markets are critical to the country's economic survival. Many outstanding Jamaicans and many normal, ordinary Jamaicans, parents, operate out of markets. Many ride the trucks into Kingston to come to Coronation Market, sleep in the back of the truck, sleep on stalls, just to ensure that they are able to provide for their families.
Mayor of Lucy, Councillor Sheridan Samuels, welcomed the project.
The refurbished market will not only alleviate the challenges of illegal vending on the street and blocking of the roads, but it will also improve the shopping experience of residents in the Hopewell space.
Minister McKenzie says every effort will be made to facilitate vendors while construction is underway. Government has received a donation of heavy-duty equipment to boost local disaster relief capacity. The donation comes from the United States Embassy in Kingston and the Department of Defense, U.S. Southern Command. The equipment were presented to local government Minister Desmond McKenzie on Monday. They include a 195 horsepower Case 712 F-Series front-end scoop loader and a Bobcat skid loader. Both are valued at over $250,000 and can be used for debris removal and clearing roads, among other things. Minister McKenzie says the donation is timely as it comes ahead of the next hurricane season, which runs from June 1 to November 30. Minister with Oversight for Education Carl Samuda says the $5 billion increase in his ministry's budget for the 2020-2021 fiscal year will support plans to significantly raise the standards of schools across the island. The increase over the current budget, which expires on March 31, is outlined in the estimates of expenditure now before Parliament. Minister Samuda says particular focus will be placed on ensuring schools are properly equipped with furniture and other supplies and infrastructure.
No school, no classroom must have a desk designed for 2, having 3 students at that desk. None. No classroom, no school should be devoid of proper sanitation. We want to raise the standard of our schools, no matter how small, no matter how large. We need to put our children in a learning environment that is conducive to enabling them to maximize their potential.
Mr. Samuda was addressing a recent consultation session for the Ministry of Education Region 4 held at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James. And finally, a trauma management team from the Ministry of Education's Region 4 office will be visiting the Rhodes Hall High School in Hanover on Monday, March 2, to provide grief counseling support to students and staff affected by the killing of a bus driver on the school compound Tuesday afternoon. Special support will be provided to the students who were transported by the bus driver. The ministry says the initial trauma management team that was mobilized was unable to gain access to the school compound as it was being treated as an active crime scene. Reports are that at approximately 12:40 p.m., 2 men on a motorbike gained access to the school compound and shot and killed bus driver Rayon McKenzie. The 31-year-old was contracted by the school to provide transportation services to students on PATH under the ministry's rural school bus program. Mr. McKenzie reportedly died on the compound after he was shot several times by the gunman. No other person was injured during the gun attack. In response, Minister with responsibility for the education portfolio, Carl Samuda, has reinforced the ministry's commitment to revisit all security arrangements and to do all that is humanly possible to ensure the security and safety of school personnel, especially children. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Protect yourself from the flu virus. Visit your nearest health center or doctor to get the flu vaccine. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or by using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid the spread of germs by not touching your eyes, mouth, or nose. And be sure to regularly disinfect surfaces and objects that are used often. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
Corporal punishment continues to be quite a debatable issue in our society. The act of causing physical harm and discomfort to a child as a form of discipline has been condemned by numerous stakeholders and members of government. Instead, the use of positive discipline has been encouraged as a reasonable alternative. Check out this recent dinner conversation on the issue.
A lot of us grew up on the scripture, spare the rod and spoil the child. So if you speak to a lot of Jamaicans, we will probably tell you that corporal punishment is just a way of life. It's a rites of passage. It is something we're accustomed to. And what doesn't kill you makes you. Now I stand here extremely lucky and extremely blessed to have been raised in a family with my grandmother and my mother. And my grandmother believed in the power of reasoning, the power of communicating, the power of understanding and working out differences. So I never experienced corporal punishment. And now that I stand as a mother of a rambunctious 7-year-old who I swear is going on 70, I implement the same things that my grandmother taught me. So I reason with her. I talk it out. Do you think that makes sense? But there are people who will tell you this doesn't work if you are a frustrated single parent. And this may not work if you come from an inner city. Well, we're here to have that conversation. Welcome to the Office of the Children's Advocates Dinner and Conversation Series.
The Office of the Children's Advocate, in association with UNICEF Jamaica, has successfully hosted its 3rd OCA Dinner and Conversation Series at the Terra Nova Hotel in Kingston.
What is this Dinner and Conversations all about? So, of course, the Office of the Children's Advocate, as most of you know, is the Commission of Parliament that is charged with the responsibility to safeguard the rights and promote the best interests of children in Jamaica in all settings. One of the things that I think is very important to do is to see how we can have facilitated discussions and get actions through very different means. How can we have stakeholders who may never ever really be in the same room at the same time gather together, fellowship over a meal, get some information based on whatever research is out there or information on a particular topic that's relevant to our children, and then give their input based on what their experiences are in their various communities and their organizations.
This year's staging of the event saw numerous stakeholders rising to the podium to share important facts on the topic and to impart valuable recommendations.
At UNICEF, we believe there is nothing more important or valuable than to protect and safeguard every child. And that means protecting every child from violence, be it sexual, emotional, psychological, or physical. We are particularly disturbed by the most common forms of violence experienced by Jamaican children, which is violent discipline. 8 out of 10 Jamaican children under age 15 are subjected to violent discipline at home. The term violent discipline includes physical aggression, like hitting or beating, as well as psychological aggression, like shouting or humiliating or calling names.
We want all our stakeholders, our teachers, our teaching associations, the clergy, the society, the private sector. We want all our partners. We want every single citizen to say enough is enough. Let us find better ways to reach out to our children. Whether we're going to give them time out, take away their privileges, whether we're going to speak to them about the consequences of their actions. And we must also always reward good behavior. Let them know that, yes, this is good. Praise them, acknowledge them. I'm proud of you, I love you, you did good. That is the correct way to do it. Let us employ these new strategies, and I promise you, it will be a new dawn in a more peaceful and loving Jamaica.
The bulk of information was presented by lead discussant for the event, Professor Joan Durant, a child clinical psychologist and professor of community health services at the University of Manitoba in Canada.
I thought we should start by figuring out just what corporal punishment is and getting a definition, because we all have different pictures in our minds of what this means. Basically, simply put, it's the administration of punishment to a child's body, and the intent is to cause pain or discomfort. What do parents really want to accomplish? What do they think they're doing when they're hitting their children? Well, one of the major goals that parents have is to teach their children right from wrong. So they want to raise children who treat other people fairly, who are kind and empathic. Usually, right, we don't want our children to be violent. We want them to be kind and good people. We want them to be able to resist temptation, and we want them to be able to make the right decision when we're not there. Out of all the 13 studies that have been conducted on this, all of them show that children who are hit have weaker, poorer relationships with their parents. And what this means is lower levels of trust, higher levels of avoidance. Even the little slaps that nobody thinks anything of when they're toddlers, don't touch that, has a profound effect. Those children start backing away from their parents and they stop exploring their environment. That impairs their cognitive development, and even more importantly, it impairs the relationship, the trust, the attachment. Because of all of this, countries are increasingly recognizing that corporal punishment is a serious public health issue. It's creating real problems in our societies. The level of violence here is correlated with the level of violence in homes, and it is all over the world. When you look at the relationship between the level of corporal punishment and dating violence across countries, really strong correlation. The relationship between corporal punishment and murder, high correlation. It's just simply a training ground. And so what skills do we want them to have? the skills to coerce, control, and hurt, or the skills to solve problems, to resolve conflicts, and to reason.
The Licensed Center of Excellence in St. Thomas is one of 10 such institutions across the island that caters to the unique needs of children with special needs. The school's curriculum was designed to develop the skills of students in areas such as literacy, numeracy, agriculture, welding, and home economics. Watch this.
The Licensed Center of Excellence caters to students post-primary, 13 years and up, who have been assessed and who have been diagnosed to be on the intellectually disabled spectrum. That means they're either mild to moderate. The Digital Foundation was kind enough to give us this wonderful school so St. Thomas can cater more to these children who need special attention. This institution opened its doors September 2017. We have a wonderful team here. We have teachers who love children. We have an administrative and an ancillary staff who loves children. Most naturally, the campus coordinator loves children. So we are here catering to the needs of these children because we believe in adding value. These children have a lot to offer, but you can only unearth it with patience, with love, and with care. Because if they don't trust you, you can't win them. And so, we want these children to be independent. We want them to contribute to their families, to their communities, and the society at large. And so we're preparing them for the working world. So at the Licensed Center of Excellence, we are skill-based. There is room for improvement, and we welcome the hands to share so that we can care more. We offer theater arts. Yes, the children can do a little. We communication. We do math, but not the math you know of trigonometry. No, we are teaching them how to balance their books. So they know a lot of measurement and of course money. We offer to them home economics, food preparation, and a little clothing and textile. As you walk around our lovely campus, it's green vegetation. So we do a little bit of agriculture and we're able to give to our kitchen, and the children can get to take home. Of course, at a cost, because we're teaching them that everything comes with a cost, because we need money to do other things. My students are interesting and we listen to them. One boy said to me, "Miss, me no want the way you do the school and I'm want to fill your block." And so I went out into the wider community and we're actually teaching our students how to lay blocks, and they're enjoying it. In special ed, a lot of emphasis is placed on life skills. And life skills is taught in all the subject areas with extra emphasis coming from the guidance departments. So of course, Licensed Center of Excellence is the place to be.
Has anybody ever played hide and seek?
My classroom is a corporate space. I facilitate learning. My students learn from each other. They help each other during the learning process. Enabling them, I make certain that I encourage them that there's nothing that they cannot do. And the motivation that they get from being a part of my classroom, the fact that we differentiate learning too in there and tiered activities are used, it makes no child feel left out.
What I love about the License Center of Excellence, it's a level playing field. We exclude no one. So all activities, if it means you're to get assistance, be it from a classmate, a teacher, or from an ancillary worker, you're going to get the assistance because we believe in excellence. Excellence for all.
The Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts is the only school of its kind on the island. Art is the language used by instructors to unleash the innate creativity and academic excellence of all their students, whatever their various learning needs.
There's a sort of purposeful selection of the sequence in these human movements. The symbolic significance of hands massaging the air and feet beating to the vibrations of songs. They're focused, energized, ready, and raring to go. If you think about it, they are just like you and I. Well, of course, that's if you can dance. But one thing might be different.
I've been there for 23 years, and I've been dancing for 10 years. I've been there for 21 years, and I've been dancing for 14 years. So I've been hard of hearing ever since I was born until now, and I've been dancing for 16 years.
Yes, persons like Christoph, Kimberly, and Damani dance. And despite nature's act of removing a seemingly valuable aspect of their senses, these three are pursuing a certificate in dance at the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, but not without some challenges.
Well, my experience here, at first, when the three of us just arrived, we were a bit awkward in terms of communicating, but then we were able to learn from each other, learning from the hearing students, and we were able to, we had issues as well with the rhythm, keeping up with the rhythm at all times, but then we were eventually able to catch up and we started to improve gradually. So for me, my main issue is timing. So I try to work along closely with the other students in the class and the teacher as well. And then eventually I'm able to catch up with the timing in terms of the music. So my challenge during class, it's really to ensure that my body is moving with the timing and the music.
Deaf dancers do move on the beat and in one accord with the rhythm, but the surprising element in this for most persons is just how are they able to, or even why did they choose dance?
I hear a little of the music and I can feel the vibration on the floor as well. So it's not that bad for me. So I use that method throughout.
With his sense of touch heightened through his loss of hearing, Damani can interpret the music through the vibrations he feels. Deaf dancers are visual learners, so for them, their instructors sign the moves or the counts. While other dancers are busy remembering the details of the moves, those like Damani, Kimberly, and Christoph are counting, keeping time, and watching keenly what their hearing peers are doing so they can interpret the steps.
So I chose to study dancing because dancing is my life. It's my passion ever since. So I want to learn more and more about dancing. I don't want to give up. I don't want to stop. I want to continue. Because my goal is to become a dancer in the future. So when I'm finished at Edna Manley College, I want to become a dancer, and I want to perform around the world. So my goal is to become a dance teacher so that I can empower younger deaf children who really love dancing and empower them so that they can, be as good as I am. It's their turn.
But for acting dean at the School of Dance, being deaf is not the biggest obstacle for becoming a great dancer.
I don't want to describe what we have as challenges. I want to describe them as opportunities to learn. But fundamental to dance is the ability to demonstrate and for the dancer to use their eyes and observe and learn the experience in a visual way and then demonstrate what it is that they have been taught. I think one of the interesting things about the deaf students is that their other senses are heightened, and so they're able to access the information in other ways and quite differently from the hearing students. So it's very interesting to see the learning dynamics, but the end result and the objective or the learning outcome of the experience are still achieved. And we're very happy about that because ultimately we want them to succeed.
And while for the school it is the first time opening its gates to persons like Christoph, Kimberly and Demani to study dance,
they're eager to receive the information and we're inspired by this drive to learn and to succeed. So even though we have an interpreter, the interpreter is also learning from the experience because we have interpreters who have never been in a school environment like this where dance is concerned, so they're also learning new language. It somehow feels as though they've brought more to us.
For many of the deaf community, the fear of fitting in lingers. But for Christoph, Kimberly and Demani, dancing is passion-driven and determination-ruled.
Well, I hope that what we've done here at the Edna Manley College in terms of opening our doors to 3 deaf students will encourage others and inspire them to go after their dreams.
So I remember in high school, there was a quote that says, "I believe I can achieve." I go by that. So in the Bible, it talks about, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." I believe I can achieve.
Jamaica's first fort in Port Royal, Fort Charles, has received a well-needed facelift. The 500-year-old heritage site has been refurbished by the Port Authority of Jamaica and other government agencies and is now open to the public. New features have been added, such as an officer's quarters, a ticket booth, a souvenir and merchandise shop. There is also a new Giddy House exhibit building, right next to the original Giddy House that was built in 1888. These renovations are just some of the steps being taken by our government to transform the historic town of Port Royal into a thriving center for tourism. So what are you waiting on? Book your visit today and enjoy the new offerings of the site that is helping to make Jamaica a more attractive place for persons to visit. Yes, but more importantly, to live, work, raise their families, and do business. And just like that, it's time to close out today's magazine. Thanks so much for browsing the pages. We do hope you enjoy the show while learning pertinent information about government's programs and initiatives. As you go, feel free to visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for our daily news stories and video uploads. And don't forget our YouTube channel. I'm Sandra Johnson. Have a fantastic weekend.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date. Hey guys, and thanks for joining me on another episode of Chill Spot. Today we'll be hanging out with Adrian Samuda. He is the CEO of the Kaluga Group, and he'll be taking us to have lunch at the CPJ Courtyard. And then afterwards it will be on to Jam Zone for a game of bowling. So don't go anywhere, much more Chill Spot after this. Adrian.
Hi Candy, these are my friends. This is Rick.
Hi
This
Rick.
is Dwight.
Hi Dwight, nice to meet you. So talk to me now, what are we going to be doing today?
Today we're going to be having lunch. Then we go to Jam Zone. It's gonna be my first time bowling.
Well, I must say I really like the ambience here, and I'm very excited about the food as well. Have you ever eaten here?
I have.
So what's your favorite thing on the menu here?
There's a sandwich, it's a Marlin sandwich.
Okay.
I ate it last week. I'm somebody who, because I'm in the restaurant business, and I'm a
You're
restaurant
very
app,
interested in that stuff, eh?
to find out what is on different menus.
Now you're the CEO of the Kaluga Group. What exactly is the Kaluga Group?
Kaluga Group is two companies, Kaluga Cafe and Kaluga Gourmet Access. Kaluga Cafe is the first company which was formed in April 2014. It's a restaurant and a casual diner located in Old Harbour. But over the years we have identified the need for catering, which clients have always been asking us about food to be served at their home or at weddings. So the company Kaluga Gourmet Access was formed in June 2015.
Now why Old Harbour for the restaurant?
I am from Old Harbour.
It's a good reason.
Yeah, it's a good reason. And Old Harbour is the fastest growing place in the English-speaking Caribbean. So the question is, why not Old Harbour?
Right. Now, prior to opening the restaurant and launching out on your own, you were working in banking. Talk to us about the transition.
My first degree is in food and beverage management. But leaving college, you're looking at your first job.
Yeah.
So Scotiabank was actually the first answer to the wide variety of resumes that were sent out. And I developed a liking for the banking sector. I started getting promotions and going into different departments. So I spent 7 years at Scotiabank, but the passion for food and beverage was always there.
Right.
From teenage years, I always wanted to open a restaurant. And so in 2012, I started to do my survey at Old Harbour to assess if Old Harbour really needs a Kaluga Cafe. And the answer was yes from the questionnaires that were distributed.
What's behind the name Kaluga?
Kaluga is the name of the biggest freshwater fish. And Old Harbour is known for fish.
Okay.
It's a fishing village. So that's the inspiration behind the name. When I was searching for a name, I started searching for names of sea creatures.
Right.
I wanted a name that actually defines the location.
Okay.
Then the name Kaluga came up, and I was like, Kaluga. It sounds like a name that we can build a brand out of.
Right.
So a brand, you have to be catchy, it have to sound good. And we have to think 10, 20 years down the line, so it's not just about the restaurant, it's about a brand.
How has the reception been since the restaurant has been open?
It has been excellent. I'm bringing something different into Old Harbour. There's a massive migration into Old Harbour now. All of the persons who used to reside in Kingston because of more affordable housing in Old Harbour, they're moving into Old Harbour.
Right.
So those persons want a similar experience to what they're getting in Kingston. So we put a similar concept into Old Harbour that someone would have ventured out into Kingston for.
Now you've been recognized by the Observer Food Awards. Talk to us about that achievement.
We won the food awards for the Parish Gem of St. Catherine in 2015.
So there's nowhere else in St. Catherine to go but Kaluga, is that what you're saying?
There are places to go, but Kaluga is the premier spot. And in 2016,
yeah,
we were awarded again one of the most talked about restaurants in Jamaica.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, you went from having a stable income in corporate to an unstable one, so to speak, as an entrepreneur. How was that transition?
This transition was easy because it starts from the mind, and my thing was always entrepreneurship. Even while being at the bank, I was always doing something on the side.
Right.
I was always have a love for entrepreneurship. So it was just about when.
When was the right time?
When was the right time? In December 2013, after building on Kaluga Cafe, I realized that this is something that is going to be greater than what I thought. It couldn't be multitasking between Scotiabank and Kaluga Cafe. I had to make a decision, and my decision was my passion.
And you've never regretted it,
I've never regretted it. I never think of a plan B because I know that it must work.
Right.
And that's important.
And it has.
It has worked. It is working. So it's conditioning the mind and setting up myself mentally. You know, said it is a must. There's no failure. Success is a must.
Coming up.
The way the system is set up, you have to fail to learn.
Right.
You have to go through challenges to learn. And oftentimes, challenges cost money.
M&A Strategy and Advisory. Are you planning for a merger or acquisition? M&A transaction. The decision to embark upon an M&A transaction is not one to be taken lightly. Whether pursuing a merger or acquisition, or considering a disposal or divestiture, the complexities of an M&A transaction require careful planning and execution. Clients can depend on our specialist teams to lead or support transactions requiring specific expertise on issues including business modeling, fast-track M&A, economic consulting, and government public sector advice. With deep experience, knowledge, and tools, Dodge & Global can meet stakeholder targets and expectations. Dodge & Global consulting teams can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
In this one degree, you're able to do many things.
I think the field found me.
I'd rather work with the deceased than work with the living.
Let us open your mind to careers you've never considered.
Miniature model maker.
Game technician.
Animator.
Good job. Empowerment.
Career moves.
Anywhere money is, that's where I am.
I started out selling out of the trunk of my car.
If everybody think the same way, everybody going in the same line.
Being an entrepreneur takes everything that you've got.
Weekends? What's weekends? We work on a weekend.
There are real opportunities everywhere you look.
But you have to have the passion.
If I do my part well, then everything is okay.
We believed in ourselves and our families believed in us.
Being convinced of this great opportunity, why we are all here doing what we're doing now.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Novia MacDonald White, Senior Associate Editor at the Jamaica Observer. And guess what? You are watching Business Access Television.
So have you guys been out to Kaluga Cafe? A number of times. What's your favorite thing on the menu?
Shrimp pasta.
Shrimp pasta? What's yours?
Chicken. Chicken pasta.
Chicken pasta.
Pasta lovers.
Pasta lovers over here, man.
Guava cheesecake.
Guava cheesecakes. They have all kind of desserts out there too.
You have to give the consumers what they would have ventured to Montego Bay or Kingston for. We couldn't have gone into Old Harbour and give them the regular fried fish
stuff.
and fried chicken.
But you mentioned the name being, having to do with fish. What about the seafood? You guys have seafood on the menu?
Yeah, we sell a wide variety of seafood. Your lobster, your fish, shrimps, etc.
So when you don't try the lobster and the fish gone out there, going to eat pasta?
You can try it. I'm not a lobster, I'm not a shrimp guy. I'm a chicken guy.
You're a chicken guy. What's your secret to success so far on your journey?
I think the people factor in the business is the most important. And reading, continuous reading. And just acknowledge that there's nothing such as failure. I've learned to, if I lose money to a project, I look at it as, okay, I just finished a course.
Right.
This year I've gone through some challenges, so I look at it as I did my PhD.
Right, okay.
It would have cost more to do the PhD or so on.
Right.
You have to pay to learn. But that's my secret. Go through it and learn from all the lessons, learn from your mistakes. You know that you don't repeat it. And every challenge that you go through, you should come out stronger.
Now, what are some of the struggles that you faced or challenges that you faced as an entrepreneur?
I believe one of my greatest challenges were the opportunity to capitalize on mentorship as a young entrepreneur. So you have this dream and you have this strong vision and you go after it. But the way the system is set up, you have to fail to learn.
Right.
You have to go through challenges to learn. And oftentimes, challenges cost money.
Right.
There's nobody who shares their secret of success. All the great persons who have gone through it, you won't know how they did it.
Right.
Unless you go through it and you pay the price. I've not failed, I don't believe in failure, but it has been challenges. You have to learn from your own.
Now, what sort of impact do you hope to have in this industry?
Just as though I went into Old Harbour and changed lives, made a difference, I want to be an entrepreneur that makes a difference in whatever field I enter into.
You mentioned something about mentorship. Do you have a mentor?
I don't have a mentor. I've just completed coaching from an entity. That's the closest to a mentor.
So you are going to be a mentor?
I would love to be a mentor because I realize that that's one of the greatest challenges that especially young entrepreneurs face right now. You have a dream or you have a vision, but a lot of reasons for failure is because persons do not have someone to show them how to be successful and the guidance. It's not because there's not a great model. It's lack of mentorship. Nobody, the great person, not telling you how they did it.
And finally, where do you see yourself in 5 years professionally?
I am looking to go to the junior stock exchange.
Okay.
That's the plan. Go to the junior stock market. To continue to build the brand, position the brand properly, and 5 years sell shares and reap the reward.
Coming up. What advice would you give the younger you?
Be determined,
Determined.
and persistent. Never give up. There's going to be challenges.
Yeah.
But I believe everything happens for a reason.
Right.
This week on Home Sweet Home, we go around Jamaica to visit a few of our most historical homes, each with their own little story. Our first stop, let's find out. Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Cameo takes you behind the scenes of Jamaica's exploding creative industries to give you an insider's look at how creatives get the job done.
I'm really picky about how we treat our customers.
As creative people, we went a little bit over the top.
Each week, we interview innovators leading the charge in their industry. The chaos of creativity meets the stricture of structure on Business Access TV's Cameo.
Michelle Chung, CEO and co-founder of Honey Bun in Jamaica, and you're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
So are you ready to lose?
Yeah, see if you can beat me.
No, I know I can beat you. Now, how do you guys know each other?
Well, I met Dwight about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Dwight. Dwight was one of the judges for the Ozera Food Awards.
Okay.
So, I mean, we have similar mindsets, so we're connected from that. But Rick now, Rick is from Nelia ground, from parents.
Parents grew up together and we grew up together.
Parents and parents are friends, and then we come to turn friends.
So you guys went to the same schools and everything?
Not primary school, high school.
High school? Which high school was that?
Glenmere High School.
Okay, now do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have 3 sisters, 1 brother.
Tell me about your childhood. Where did you grow up? What was it like?
Well, I grew up in Oldawa, a district called Davis. My childhood was good. I never knew about poverty, nor any stress. In my eyes, we had everything. So while parents worked hard, but they provided for us. We had a good childhood.
And what about an immediate family of your own? Do you have any children?
I have 1 daughter.
1 daughter? How old is she?
She's 3 years old.
My goddaughter.
That's your goddaughter?
Well, the goddaughter that him not visit.
Call him out, yes, call him out. What would you say is the most memorable childhood memory?
When I actually passed English language.
You didn't expect to?
That I didn't expect it, but it was one of my weakest area. English language was what was preventing me from starting university. When I got the results, and I realized when I looked on the slip and it was amazing. I felt a great feeling because knowing the struggle that I'm going through, to pass this one subject for me to go to college. But my house from the gate is about less than quarter mile. And I started to call my mom from out there. Mommy, 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 me pass, me pass. And when I finally reached her, it put the joy in her face. So that was it. Yeah, man. Every time I remember anything, that was the moment.
Now, what else do you guys like to do for fun?
I'm a park person, so when he has sipping, I'll go down there and chill at night, by the restaurant in general.
And you and Dwight like to what, read books together?
We talk about business a lot. How we're going to take over the world, right, Dwight?
If I want to talk about business, the first person literally that comes to my mind
is Adrian.
Adrian's a very reliable person. I don't have to tiptoe around any particular subject matter. I can start him because he's non-judgmental and he's consistent. And what I love most about him is that philosophically, we don't talk about people. So what I love about him is that he has a very pure spirit about people. He's a very, very good friend to us.
And would you agree with what he has said?
I do. Adrian, as you said, we've grown up over the years. He's, considered to be my best friend. Somebody else kind of get close as well, but we're still virgin, you know?
I
kind of have a choice now who's to be the best man.
He's a professor. He's a professor.
Clearly.
But he has his head on his body. As I said, well-driven and goal-oriented. He's someone I can depend on, as Dwight said, and in circumstances as well, I've had situations where I have to call upon Adrian and say, X, and it's there, And I think he looks at me the same way as well as I wouldn't be the godfather of his daughter, although that's another different story. Me and Adrian's friendship, unlike Dwight, where they might communicate often, is one where we don't have to talk to know that
the relationship stays the same.
Right.
Well, I hope your head not swelling too much, because that was a lot of good things. You've left a very good impression on the people that you've touched in your life.
Thanks to Business Access TV.
What advice would you give the younger you?
Be determined and persistent. Never give up. There's going to be challenges. But I believe everything happened for a reason. I've gone through a lot, but in the end you realize that, this is the reason why that happened. But determination is key.
All right, well, I think the last thing left for us to do now is bowl. Let us go. And that brings us to the end of another exciting episode of Chill Spot, where we hung out with Adrian Samuda, CEO of the Kaluga Group. He took us to lunch at CPJ's courtyard, and then it was on to Jam Zone for a game of bowling, which I won, might I just point out. But until next time, I'm Candy for Chill Spot. Bye! Tune in this Friday for Chill Spot, where... That's a good take, that's a good take. Do you have any children?
I have one daughter.
One daughter? How old is she?
She's 3 years old.
My goddaughter.
That's your goddaughter?
Well, the goddaughter that him not visit.
Call him out, yes, call him out. Shoes are big. It's going to make me lose. A fierce beast.
M&A Strategy and Advisory. Are you planning for a merger or acquisition? M&A transaction. The decision to embark upon an M&A transaction is not one to be taken lightly. Whether pursuing a merger or acquisition, or considering a disposal or divestiture, the complexities of an M&A transaction require careful planning and execution. Clients can depend on our specialist teams to lead or support transactions requiring specific expertise on issues including business modeling, fast-track M&A, economic consulting, and government public sector advice. With deep experience, knowledge, and tools, Dodge & Global can meet stakeholder targets and expectations. Dodge & Global consulting teams can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
I do have a dream, and I know you have a dream, that we can make Jamaica the place of choice for you to choose to live, to work, to do business.
We are going for the Jamaica we want. Making steady progress to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in our National Development Plan, Vision 2030 Jamaica. We have teamed up with valued partners, working through strong institutions to reduce inequalities in our society. We commit to being responsible in our production and consumption, ensuring we build sustainable communities in harmony with nature. Jamaica is making significant strides in providing quality, lifelong education for all, enabling our people to be engaged in decent work to drive economic growth, equipping men and women with the skills to build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industry, foster innovation, and utilize new technologies. Urgent action is being taken to manage natural resources responsibly, protecting clean water sources, ensuring access to water and sanitation for all, diversifying to alternative energy sources, conserving our environment, and sustaining life below water and on land. Jamaica is making moves to ensure healthy lifestyles for the well-being of our people. We're promoting sustainable agriculture to achieve food security, improve nutrition, and end extreme hunger, putting in the work to end poverty in all its forms. We're on track in achieving our Sustainable Development Goals through realizing our Vision 2030 Jamaica. We will leave no one behind.
And I'm chilling right now because we're winning right now.
I started out selling out of the trunk of my car.
If everybody think the same way, everybody going in the same line.
Being an entrepreneur takes everything that you've got. Weekends? What's weekends? We work on a weekend.
There are real opportunities everywhere you look.
But you have to have the passion.
If I do my part well, then everything is okay.
We believed in ourselves and our families believed in us.
Being convinced of this great opportunity, why we are all here doing what we're doing now.
CARICOM News Time is brought to you by Dodge & Global.
CARICOM heads of government have renewed their commitment to strengthen regional integration governance mechanisms. They have agreed to continue actions to propel growth in the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, the CSME, to adopt an all-of-society approach to tackling crime and to promote a new regime for roaming rates. Welcome to this special edition of the CARICOM News Time on the outcomes of the 31st Intersessional CARICOM Heads of Government Summit. The meeting was held in St. Michael, Barbados on the 18th and 19th of February. I am Tosankin English Francis.
And I am Michelle Nurse. Thanks for joining us.
Mindful of the need to address issues of implementation in the community, heads of government have agreed to take stock of the actions undertaken since the 2003 Rose Hall Declaration. The declaration was adopted at the 24th meeting of the conference in Montego Bay, Jamaica. It outlined specific measures to fulfill the aims, objectives, and undertakings of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas.
We are firm of the view that we need to enhance our governance mechanisms, and to that extent, we've asked Prime Minister Gonzalez to be able to pull on technical working groups that were hitherto presented to heads of government and that may bear revisiting again because of the need for us to guarantee implementation across all of the member states.
Prime Minister Mia Mottley, the chair of CARICOM, anticipates that the report of that review will be ready for the July Heads of Government Summit.
The heads of government have agreed to simplify administrative arrangements to enhance the efficiency of the free movement regime of the CSME. Prime Minister of Dominica, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, who holds responsibility for free movement in the CARICOM Quasi-Cabinet, will lead that charge. As they pursue the inclusion of the private sector and labor in the CSME, the heads of government reviewed two comprehensive reports that assessed and provided recommendations on food security, renewable energy, air and maritime transport, and information and communication technology.
The report that came sets out a pathway towards our being able to work towards substituting 25% of our food import bill, which at the current moment stands at about $5 billion US, that we would look to cut out 25% of that within the next 5 years. What was heartening is that they had a clear plan across livestock and crops, 7 key areas that would save the region $420 odd million US, but also would have the potential to be able to earn foreign exchange outside of the region. Now, this will require action on the part of private investors at all levels, but it would also require further action on the part of governments and the community to make it more seamless for that kind of production integration to take place from Guyana and Suriname in the south to Jamaica in the north, from Belize in the west to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean islands in the east.
The Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM has agreed to enable the CARICOM Development Fund to raise additional money from a wider range of options in order to carry out its mandate. The CDF was established under Article 158 of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas to address disparities in countries, sectors, and regions which may result from the implementation of the CSME. The heads have acknowledged that even though member states are committed to recapitalizing the fund, they have also acknowledged that it would not be enough in the face of a number of challenges. Executive Director of the CDF explains the range of options the fund is exploring for recapitalization.
We know the traditional donors. Mm-hmm. We know Europe, we know Canada, we know UK, maybe to a lesser extent now USAID. We have been talking to individual European countries that have, for example, Finland. We had, in a way, we had them targeted as a non-traditional donor. Luxembourg. Mm-hmm. We were successful in getting financing from some of these on our full cycle. We are at the stage now where we are going to approach some of them as well for replenishment, for part of the replenishment and maybe into the third cycle, but also looking at, say, China, UAE. And we've had discussions, we've done a partnership with the UAE, for example, on a particular project. And in terms of non-traditional methods of raising finance as well, is to consider floating a bond, a growth and resilience bond. So as we try to keep up with the realities, fiscal challenges facing the countries, this is an option that we have to look at.
As member states seek to diversify their economies and build the financial services sector, the arbitrary imposition of tax governance and money laundering rules continues to be a sticking point. CARICOM heads of government at their 31st intersessional meeting reiterated the call for an intergovernmental tax governance body to deal with this issue. Justine Dunkley-Malcolm followed this discussion and filed this story.
In his remarks at the opening of the meeting, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Alan Chasney, reported that in light of the threat to financial institutions of losing critical relationships with banks in the United States, the matter was taken to Washington by a delegation led by Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister, the Honorable Gaston Brown, following a meeting that was held in St. Lucia.
I can report that we have moved the needle on de-risking and that the OECS is working on a single compliance department. We were able to draw the attention of the members of the Financial Services Committee of the United States Congress and senior representatives of major U.S. banks, including the Bank of America, to the catastrophic effect which the stringent measures being imposed on domestic banks by correspondent banks in the United States and the negative impact which the withdrawal of such services was having on economies in the Caribbean member states.
Prime Minister Chasney also reported that another CARICOM delegation interfaced with the European Union on the troubling issue of blacklisting. He stated that member states of the community continued to take the necessary steps to comply with the demands of the regulating agencies. But while they do, countries in the region were still being penalized. According to him, some countries remained on a grey list, while one member state still remained on the blacklist. At the end of meeting press conference, CARICOM Chair Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados said that the heads had agreed to consider legal recourse to the matter that impinges on fiscal sovereignty of member states.
The issue of crime and security received significant attention in the CARICOM Heads of Government caucus discussions at the 31st Intersessional Summit in Barbados. Ms. Valderine Hackett of the Communications Unit filed this story.
A multidisciplinary summit on security is scheduled for April this year. This announcement was made by Chair of the Caribbean Community, the Honorable Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, when she addressed the press at the close of the 31st Intersessional Meeting of Heads of Government on 19th February in Barbados. The Prime Minister conveyed her fellow heads deep concern about the continuing high rates of crime and violence in the community and shared their decision to convene a summit which would bring together a wide cross-section of disciplines and partnerships to address this issue.
You cannot solve this problem purely through law enforcement, and that we recognize that the source of the problem is a broader societal problem that requires a societal solution, of which the government is only but one of the players. And we're talking about not just how do you solve murders, we're really talking about how do you resolve violence and conflict within our families, within our communities, within our countries.
Heads of government have agreed to address the matter of crime and violence as a public health issue. They have agreed also that enhanced security would include measures to assist in minimizing the risk of importation of the COVID-19 virus. Lead head for security in the CARICOM quasi-cabinet, Honorable Keith Rowley, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, has agreed to host the summit, scheduled for early April.
CARICOM heads of government have endorsed the Regional Health Emergency Strategy led by the Caribbean Public Health Agency to prevent the importation of the novel coronavirus to the region. They commended the support of other regional and international organizations, including the Pan American Health Organization.
We dealt also with health. Members, states were updated, and we thank them very much for their updates. CARFA, who has been really on the front line of the fight against COVID-19. We are happy but not arrogant that we have been able to contain and to manage our affairs such that there has been no outbreak, no single case of COVID-19 within the community. We pray that our efforts and our actions will continue to allow us to be able to say that. But we are conscious that we continue to have to be eternally vigilant with respect to this matter in order to be able to ensure that we provide the best possible protection to our populations.
Heads of government expressed sympathy and support to the government of China as it continues to contain the virus at ground zero of the epidemic. They thanked the Chinese government for ensuring the safety and well-being of CARICOM nationals in China and for their offer of support to boost the capacity of the region to respond to the threat of the COVID-19. The conference mandated the CARICOM Secretariat in collaboration with CARFA to explore the offer from China. CARICOM heads of government also addressed wider health issues and were particularly concerned about the escalation of incidents of heart attacks in the region.
We also took a report from the CARICOM, Caribbean Cardiac Society. And in this report, we were updated to some facts which we have been discussing here in Barbados as well, that the mortality rate for what they call myocardial infarctions, MIs, in the Caribbean is significantly higher than it is in the developed world. And the figures quoted were in the vicinity of 36–37% as compared to 7–8% in the developed world. And the point was made that we are probably doing more on prevention within the region than there are in the developed world, but more people may have a chance of surviving a heart attack in the developed world than here because of the additional steps that we need to take. As a result of that presentation, heads of government mandated that we would wish to build the capacity to address the incidence of heart disease, both in terms of continued prevention as well as in preparation to be able to increase the chances of survival of a person presenting themselves at a hospital within the region. And to that extent, we've mandated the Secretariat, CARFA, and the Caribbean Cardiac Society to produce a draft regional strategy aimed at identifying this and other critical public goods, regional public goods, essential for operating the strategy so that we can reduce the mortality rate.
Community nationals can now anticipate affordable roaming charges as they move across the CARICOM single market and economy. The Conference of Heads of Government has asked Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell to engage telecommunication companies in discussions to chart the way forward on a new regime for roaming rates.
We will await the final implementation of the regime as well as the other areas of digital governance for which Prime Minister Mitchell has responsibility.
Agreements and instruments of ratification were signed at the 31st CARICOM intersessional meeting as members reaffirmed their commitment to regional integration governance mechanisms. The community also signed a memorandum of understanding with the government of the United Arab Emirates for the establishment of a consultation and cooperation mechanism. You can view the full list of agreements in the communique issued at the conclusion of the meeting on the CARICOM news site or the CARICOM website.
CARICOM heads of government have agreed to mount a fact-finding mission to Haiti. Briefing the media on that decision, Dominica's Prime Minister, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, said even though the situation in Haiti is complex and there are a number of views on the way forward, it cannot continue without the intervention of the Caribbean community.
We've agreed to dispatch a team of senior officials led by the Secretary General, Ambassador Larocque, to visit Haiti and to meet with all relevant stakeholders so that we can find some kind of, first of all, to know exactly what's happening on the ground, engaging stakeholders, but also seeking to devise a strategy of how CARICOM can assist Haiti in resolving this issue. Because it is felt that if we do not help address the domestic issue confronting Haiti, we will continue to have tremendous negative impacts on countries like the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas, who are seeing a large number of migrants coming in to these countries and creating some domestic challenges for them. So we need to work with Haiti, we need to work with the various stakeholders in Haiti to find some kind of lasting solution.
CARICOM and Canada have discussed the strengthening of relations between the two parties. CARICOM heads of government welcomed the Foreign Minister of Canada to the 31st Intersessional Summit. The Canadian Foreign Minister set out an agenda for strengthening ties between his country and CARICOM. Heads of government expressed their appreciation for the assistance Canada has extended to the community in various fields. They also interacted with Commonwealth Secretary General Baroness Patricia Scotland. They expressed their gratitude for the range of activities undertaken by the Commonwealth Secretariat to the benefit of small island and low-lying coastal developing states, SIDS. Heads of government expressed their overwhelming support for the renewal of Baroness Scotland's term of office. Prime Minister Mia Mottley also announced that a CARICOM Africa Union Summit will be held mid-year in Africa.
Much more on the Intersessional CARICOM Heads of Government Summit on the CARICOM news site at today.caricom.org and the CARICOM website at caricom.org.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time.
CARICOM News Time was brought to you by Dodgen Global.
Outsourced finance and accounting service. Growing companies face a challenge. For you to stay focused on building your business, you need solid financial management with a dependable accounting function, a resource you may not have in-house. That's where we come in. Dodgen Global provides startups and other businesses with outsourced accounting and finance solutions on a fixed fee basis. No matter what your size or fundraising status, we can tailor our services to fit your needs at every stage of your company's life cycle. Whether you want to add expertise to your existing team or completely outsource your accounting and finance functions, we offer reliable and economical options, including accounting system installations and upgrades, from simple to complex, help establishing preferred banking, legal, payroll, benefits, and HR relationships, paperless online bill payment and bookkeeping, financial reporting and advice for management and investors, financial statement audit management, sales tax compliance. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global Website https://dodgen.global.
It's arguably the most significant invention to come out of Jamaica in the last 2 decades. A medical doctor, a mechanical engineer, and a computer scientist used technology to develop a way to train heart surgeons across the globe more efficiently. The heart simulator developed at the UWI is now being used by several universities across the world to train surgeons. Professor Daniel Kaur, who worked on the project, says after shelving the first prototype and moving on to other projects, he and the other inventors involved received a call that would change everything.
So in late 2007, we hear from Dr. Richard Fines, who was at the time chairman of the American Board of Thoracic Surgery. He had seen a video that had been released along with a paper that we had published. And in the video, we were just showing a small clip of what the heart looked like while, in operation, in use. And he wrote to Dr. Ramphal, basically did a little internet search, tried to find him, sort of located an email address for him at UWI, by which time he had already left UWI, and wrote him and said, I saw this video, is it real? Because if that's real, I'd love to come to UWI to see it, and would you be willing to set it up for us, because we are examining possible simulation environment scenarios for the cardiac surgery training, and this is something that we would like to sort of take a look at just to see what it can do and whether it's good for us.
After some persuasion, the team decided to go to the University of North Carolina to set up the prototype.
First time set up, right? So all these prominent heart surgeons had just come in to take a look at what's going on, and everybody was kind of blown away at just how realistic the heart beating was, and how realistic the whole environment was. So they took out the video footage and took that to their annual meeting that year at the Society of Thoracic Surgeons. And with that video at that meeting, just sort of, caught the eye of everybody who was at that symposium that year. And that ended up getting us invited to technology symposium for cardiothoracic surgery. And we got re-invited year after year.
Soon after that, the UWI developed heart simulator was a sought-after tool when it came to training heart surgeons.
It then got to a point where other places wanted one. They kept saying, how can we get one of these at our institution? So it was kind of around that time, that was started around 2009, that we started talking about how to get multiple ones of these. And by around 2011, we'd actually built them. So in that interim, we had negotiations, sort of thought about how to sort of make it a little more structured and sort of help ourselves get to the point where we could be talking to people who might want a license.
The simulator then ended up in some of the top medical schools in North America, revolutionizing the way heart surgeons were being trained.
Harvard's Mass General Hospital, University of Rochester, there was a University of North Carolina, Johns Hopkins, Vanderbilt, Mayo Clinic, University of Washington, and Stanford.
This was the first time ever heart surgeons in training were being exposed to real-life circumstances.
Kind of what I mentioned before, where you might have the pig's heart in a bowl, or I suppose if you're working with a cadaver, which is going to be realistic, but it's a dead person, but nothing where the heart is, or actually a live pig. That is the closest that you could come if you wanted to get a full-blown operating room scenario where you are standing around, there's a apparently living, beating heart, and you have to give the right instructions, and you have somebody controlling a pump, somebody controlling anesthesia, and then you have your partner in front and you're supposed to be giving the right instructions, and you're learning not just the specific procedures, but also the management of your team. The only way you could really reconstruct that without having a real patient on the table was a live pig. That was the closest you could come. So what our simulator was providing these guys with was a context in which they could reconstruct any scenario they wanted, when they wanted, at the time they wanted. So from the purpose of teaching, if today's lesson was to teach you something that hardly ever happens, they could make sure it's scheduled what's going to happen because you set the simulator up to deliver that. So for them, that was a great opportunity to change how training in cardiac surgery could work, right? And at the same time, you're getting this high fidelity model, right? So you're not putting any patients at risk. You have this model that looks real. It bleeds when you cut it. It has a pressure. It shows you a computer trace that looks like it's a real trace on a monitor. So for all intents and purposes, just because you set it up, you know it's not real. But for all intents and purposes, it looks like a patient on the table.
The heart simulator has not only used technology to totally revolutionize the way heart surgeons are trained, but it is also helping to better equip surgeons to deal with real-life situations in real time.
There are some well-rehearsed procedures, as in over time, they've developed some procedures to respond to a particular kind of emergency. But if you as a resident only get trained via the operating room, then the only scenarios that you become familiar with are the ones that you see. Now, of course, if you see 100 cases, 200 cases, then you start thinking, okay, you're ready, you're competent, you can go and you are now going to be certified as capable of practice on your own. But what if the scenario that we're worried about isn't one that occurs so frequently? It might be 1 in 1,000 cases, it might be 1 in 2,000 cases. Those are still potentially life-threatening. You still want somebody who is going to now become an attending to know how to deal with them. And in the old situation, before our simulator, the only way they would have really gotten that exposure is through a textbook or somebody telling them, you know, if you ever encounter this, this is what you're supposed to do. So it's kind of a hypothetical, and the response is really a kind of theoretical response, or at least a hypothetical one anyway. With a scenario, with a simulator, we can now say, okay, next week's lesson going to be how you deal with this. And I can tell you what you must do, and I can set up the simulator to make that emergency occur. So while you're doing your thing, you know, suddenly something happens and you say, what's going on? And it's for you to A, recognize that there's that emergency going on, and then B, act appropriately. So you can actually now practice that, which is not something that you could have done easier before.
The heart simulator is the first UE patent to be commercialized, and with the recent commitment from Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke to pump more government resources into research and development, it is hoped that more patented inventions coming out of the University of the West Indies can be commercialized.
Takes you behind the scenes of Jamaica's exploding creative industries to give you an insider's look at how creatives get the job done.
I'm really picky about how we treat our customers.
As creative people, we went a little bit over the top.
Each week, we interview innovators leading the charge in their industry. The chaos of creativity meets the stricture of structure on Business Access TV's Cameo. Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
If you grew up in Jamaica, chances are your mornings would start with a hot beverage, and regardless of what it was made from, it was called tea. This week on The Good Life, we highlight what many Jamaicans refer to as tea, and the numerous benefits that your grandmother may have told you about.
My name is Norman Wright. I am the Managing Director of Perishables Jamaica Limited, and we manufacture teas under the Tops and Sipper Cuppa Ital Jamaican brands. Perishables Jamaica Limited commenced operations in 1980. It was a year when Jamaica had a lot of turmoil going on with our political parties. People were either going or staying. And I chose to stay in Jamaica and start Perishables Jamaica Limited with what was 300 Jamaican dollars, the equivalent of 175 US dollars, and at today's rate of exchange it would be about $23,000. We made that start, we planted that seed, we have watered it and watched it growing in the 37 year, and we are extending the brand with the Sipper Cuppa range. We in Jamaica look at every hot beverage other than coffee as tea. So you have cocoa tea, chocolate tea, you have peppermint tea and bush teas. But real tea, straight tea, is, as it says, tea that's grown in India, Ceylon, Kenya, and that's a plant that has its own unique claim. We loosely, globally still refer to hot beverages as teas, but they're really tisanes, as the proper classification is. We, as a people, have a rich heritage of healing herbs, and over time we have lost a lot of that knowledge because we have adopted the Western lifestyle, and so black tea is a Western style and we adopted it. But with the emergence of herbal medicine to the forefront again globally, and 70% of the world population depends on primary herbs and spices to deal with healthcare because they don't have access to modern pharmaceutical medicine. And so we as a country, and certainly we as a company, have a mandate to develop indigenous agricultural products and byproducts. And the herbs and spices niche is where we have gone in, and we have sought to bring these traditional healing herbs and package them in a consistent manner, in a proper quality format, and giving it to the Jamaican consumer that they know when they buy a pack of Cersei, it's a consistent quality Cersei before we put it on the shelf. Guinea hen weed. If you smell it, it's actually loaded with sulfur. It's loaded with sulfur, and that's one of the benefits of the sulfur products. They tend to help in terms of cleaning and attending to the body's immune system. This product is John Charles, and we actually are working on a project with this John Charles and this one, which is Jack in the Bush. In Jamaican folklore, these are good cold bush. This is moringa, and this moringa, you can eat it straight out. This is natural protein. So if you find yourself anywhere and you're hungry, you get this thing here, drink some water, and you have natural energy. So you can add it to your salad and eat it raw, or you can just steam it down like callaloo, and you add your callaloo to it because it's natural plant protein, nature's gift to us. We recognize also that one of the benefits of moringa is that it acts as a fertilizer. So we have tried to plant some ginger here. So we planted 1, 2, 3, 4 different sets of gingers from 4 different locations. And we have added moringa to it on a weekly basis. And we're gonna see what the yield is like at the end of the project. this year is a special white turmeric. We got this plant from one of our suppliers, and we are planting it here with a view to growing it out. In much the same way we started perishables with $300, we're gonna take this white turmeric and grow it out and bring it into the production process eventually. This big tree here is called piaba. Woman piaba, man piaba, gully grand grand. Miss Lou, you know that one? You're too young for that. All right. It is one of the herbs that is used in dealing with period pains in traditional healing. And it's a product that our distributors asked us to bring to market, so we will be bringing this to market. This is what we call inflammation weed. And unfortunately, we don't have it in its full bloom, but these little red, green spots will turn red in another couple of days. People call it information weed, but it's inflammation weed. And this is one of our gifts that we don't utilize in Jamaica in any way, shape, or form. In much the same way, guava leaf. Guava leaf is natural to help you with any sort of stomach indigestion, diarrhea, vomiting diarrhea. And a lot of people leave a guava tree in their home. If they could just boil it and give the child, or they themselves have that guava leaf tea, and they would get relief. They head off to the doctor, the pharmacist, get dehydrated and didn't know the solution was at hand. It's the same thing with inflammation weed. In traditional healing, it is a herb that is respected and revered, and we expect to bring it to market again in the near future. This year is lemongrass under the Tops brand, and we export this product into the USA. It's one of our big sellers in the USA. This is donkey weed, Bushman Viagra. Bushman Viagra. This is what we started the business with in 1985. We used this product and blended it with black tea to create our first product and our flagship product, Tops Pep-O-Mint, which is a blend of black tea, which is a product that transformed the Jamaican black tea market to a herbal tea market. It was a change agent. That's why we have so many people enjoying herbal teas today and less people enjoying black tea. And we do have a Jamaican herb that is as good as black tea. It's called Search Me Heart. And that's another one of the products that will be coming to market.
Don't go anywhere. Learn more about the benefits of tea when The Good Life returns. Soon come.
M&A Strategy and Advisory. Are you planning for a merger or acquisition? M&A transaction. The decision to embark upon an M&A transaction is not one to be taken lightly. Whether pursuing a merger or acquisition or considering a disposal or divestiture, the complexities of an M&A transaction require careful planning and execution. Clients can depend on our specialist teams to lead or support transactions requiring specific expertise on issues including business modeling, fast-track M&A, economic consulting, and government public sector advice. With deep experience, knowledge, and tools, Dodge & Global can meet stakeholder targets and expectations. Dodge & Global consulting teams can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
This week on Home Sweet Home, we go around Jamaica to visit a few of our most historical homes, each with their own little story. Our first stop, let's find out.
Welcome back to The Good Life. This week it's all about the benefits of what Jamaicans term as tea.
When one dries the herbs, one gets a concentration of the elements in a smaller package. Whereas if one has the fresh herb, it doesn't necessarily have the concentration that you would have in a dried herb because you have lost the moisture. So when you have a fresh herb, it is herb plus water. When you get a dried herb, the water is out, so you have it's more concentrated in that area. And you rehydrate. When you rehydrate, you pretty much get back the benefit. In drying the herbs, you might lose some of the low notes, which are those products that have a low boiling point, so the heat will drive them off. And that might affect some of the benefits that you will get from those low notes. But generally speaking, the dried herb captures pretty much all that is in the herb once it's concentrated and dried. It's convenience. That's the bottom line. When I was a boy, we used to go catch a fowl, cut the neck off, and pick the feathers off, clean it up, and cook it. Now I go to the supermarket and I buy a leg or a breast or a whole chicken. It's the same thing with our tea bags. Instead of going out and go picking guava leaf because you have an upset stomach and diarrhea, which is what guava helps you with, you can go buy a pack of Sipper Cup of Ital Jamaican guava leaf tea bag in the supermarket, and you know that each tea bag is a consistent product with a dosage that should be good for you, 1.5 grams tea bag of dried herbs, and you should get the benefit from that package each time you use that package. If you go and pick 5 leaves today, 3 leaves tomorrow, 4 leaves, 6 leaves, you don't know what you're gonna actually end up with. But certainly if one is in the community and doesn't have access to tea bags, rule of thumb is you normally, like guava leaf, you take 3 or 4 leaves and you steep it and you get the benefit of it. A handful of leaves is something that one would kind of work with to get your 1.5 gram of dried herbs from. Coffee has its space, its niche, its following, and the herbal teas have their own following as well. So for me, and from what I know, coffee is a good stimulant that perks you up, but you get that same benefit from Busy, because Busy has some caffeine in it, but I think it's more presented in a form almost like it's blended with chocolate. It's a hybrid when you look at the Busy. So when you drink Busy, you get the caffeine benefit, but it's not as a high fast release as you get with the regular coffee. And in Africa, it's actually used for endurance when you take Busy. Some people use it as a stimulant for that it starts to be aphrodisiac. You might find people drinking both, yeah? But generally speaking, the coffee person wants coffee at specific times. They will intersperse with tea, but a coffee person is generally, in my opinion, a coffee person. They need that caffeine at some point in time. The tea drinker, the person who wants to have a calm and restful sleep, will drink vervain or vervain because it's a calming herb. It's an adaptogen herb in much the same way that lemongrass or colon mint will calm you. So depending on what the person wants, they will drink the tea, even if they are coffee drinkers, to get the benefit that they expect. And vervain is also a good worm medicine. the bitter bush. We don't produce enough, seriously. We've never produced enough, seriously. Whatever we produce is always sold. It's up there. Joining it would be Jamaican peppermint for us. And we have seen a significant improvement in the takeoff of moringa and guinea hen weed under the Sipper Copper brand. If we had ginger, maybe ginger would be in the mix, but we haven't been able to source consistent supplies of Jamaican ginger for the last 3 years, and chances are we won't for another 2, 3, 4 years. We pretty much are almost looking at taking Jamaican ginger out of our product mix because it's just the material isn't available in a consistent manner at a price that makes it marketable. Ginger shortage revolves around an issue of rhizome rot, which the government of Jamaica is fully aware of. The Scientific Council and all the relevant authorities are aware of the problem of ginger rhizome rot and its implications on the Jamaican economy. We import more ginger than we export, and Jamaica at one time was ranked probably 3rd or 4th as a world producer of ginger. It's a commodity that if we were to spend some time, money and effort on it to deal with it, it could be resolved, I think. So we need to take charge of ginger. That's all I would like the government to do. The rest of things we can solve. Ginger. Oh yes, certainly there are lots of concerns about bush tea, and which is why on our packages we put the botanical name so that whoever is buying it, they can go research the name of the product and see what the benefits are if they don't know the benefits already. And you have herbs like guinea hen weed, which have abortifacient properties. So if you are pregnant, you shouldn't take something like guinea hen weed. And then you have herbs like turmeric, which are anti-inflammatory, which are blood thinners. And the same thing goes for your guinea hen weed. So if you're using blood thinners, you wouldn't want to use the herbs with it because it would tend to thin your blood some more than you go to. And which is why we recommend on our products that you talk with your health provider and let them be aware of what it is you're doing. And you research carefully what benefits you can have from these herbs. But Dr. Pickin will probably tell you more about the drug-herb interactions and what can and cannot go.
Dorgan Global Regulatory and Compliance Services. The regulatory framework is always changing, making this environment increasingly complex and confusing for businesses. Regulations as national, international and supranational levels are being issued, amended or expanded, which sometimes makes it hard to navigate through the maze of orders, decrees, guidelines and circulars. This is not helped by the fact that businesses also need to assess the potential effects of future regulations. Dorgan Global professionals can help you manage compliance risks and operational essential to achieving lasting business success today, as compliance breaches can cause considerable damage, which may even put the future of a company at risk. Dorgan Global can help you make smarter, more effective decisions regarding regulatory and compliance matters. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dorgan.global, website www.dorgan.global.
We have grown from 20 million US to now having 800 million US dollars.
Knowledge, skill, and professionalism. Those are my tools and my armor.
It's a big man don't cry, right? It's a big man don't cry, right?
We were being robbed.
some $531,000.
I've been angry to the point where I feel like I will get it, baby.
Hey guys, I'm Candy and welcome to Chill Spot, Jamaica's ultimate leisure show. This season promises to reveal some of the hidden treasures of the lifestyle industry by taking you to the chill spots of some of Jamaica's most brilliant business minds, giving you a glimpse into how they choose to unwind and just hold a vibe. You won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned.
One of the biggest myths is that anything that is natural is safe. That's a myth. That's quite clearly not true. Some of the most powerful poisons known to man are plants. One of the most powerful poisons right now is ricin. Ricin is derived from the castor oil bean. But if you process the castor oil bean, it's safe. The oil itself is safe. But if an adult chews 1 or 2 castor beans, they will probably end up in hospital, if not dead. So to say because things are natural, they're safe is a myth. So having said that, when it comes to medicinal plants, when it comes to bush medicine, the way people have used plants going back to thousands and thousands of years to the first human beings is through trial and error. Traditional use is one of the most important aspects of medicinal plant safety. So where you have a long history of traditional use, that history of traditional use will normally tell you which part of the plant can be used and how that plant part can be prepared. And also, traditional use will tell you generally how long you can take the plant for and the dose. In Jamaica and the Caribbean, that traditional use is an oral tradition. It's not written down. So that traditional knowledge is very important. And one of the key areas that we're doing research on is to actually document that traditional knowledge and make sure that that's documented and then given back into the communities so that that knowledge doesn't die out. And so Jamaicans and other people across the Caribbean continue to use medicinals. In fact, if anything, use more medicinal plants, but they use them safely. 73% of the people that we interviewed, and we did an island-wide survey, 73% still use Jamaican plants day in, day out. And a lot of the plants aren't necessarily used to treat illness. This is the other thing that excites me as a researcher. Jamaicans are very proactive in maintaining their health. So they don't necessarily wait until they're sick to take a plant. They will take a tea to stay healthy. And that, for me, from a public health perspective, is very interesting and very heartwarming. So I would say it's a very positive thing. And what I would hope is that that doesn't die out. Jamaicans have, compared to a lot of countries, the knowledge of medicinal plants is extraordinary here. It really is quite extraordinary. People know which plants are good for particular health conditions. And many of those health conditions might be what doctors would call self-limiting. So they're conditions that may go away if you didn't do anything. But guess what? If you take a particular plant for that particular condition because it's troubling you and it brings you some relief, then you can say that that has a health benefit. But ultimately, the condition's going to go away. So bellyache gas is not a serious condition, but if you drink a herbal tea, it's going to make you feel better. But then you have plants where, as we start to do research, we actually find that they have significant health benefits. And so that's when it starts to get interesting to look at how people report using plants, and then you go away and do the research and you find, well, guess what? You may find people report its use because they find it's good over years and years or generations, they find it's very good. But then the pharmacologists and the ethnobotanists then look into a plant and find that it has other benefits. Or you may find a plant that people know is good in Jamaica for one condition is good for a whole range of other conditions in other countries. A lot of our pharmaceutical drugs have evolved from plant-based medicines. So the original plant-based treatment, going back to the 20s and 30s for syphilis, before antibiotics, was sarsaparilla. So they're looking at sarsaparilla as a medicine that can be used in the treatment of these antibiotic-resistant forms of syphilis.
Leaf of life. When you plant this, it generates many suckers or many plants, and each one of these nodules here, if you put it in the earth, will give you a plant.
Leaf of life can be prepared either by squeezing the leaf and drinking it straight, or infusing it as a tea. In Jamaica, people report its use as a cold remedy. Anytime you have sore throat, cold, you take leaf of life. But that plant in Nigeria has gone through clinical trials as what's called a tocolytic agent. And a tocolytic agent is a drug or a plant-based medicine or a pharmaceutical drug that prevents a woman from going into labour prematurely. It actually calms down uterine contractions. So if you have a woman who's going to go into premature labour and you want to stop that, you give a tocolytic. So they did a clinical trial in Nigeria where they gave an extract of leaf of life and they compared it in a clinical trial with a pharmaceutical drug. Both had exactly the same effect. The leaf of life worked as effectively as the pharmaceutical. But guess what? There was an added benefit. The tocolytic has side effects. So you have to weigh up the risk to benefit to the fetus with preventing the birth. But the leaf of life doesn't have those same side effects. So in Germany, there are clinics that actually use leaf of life extract and have done since the 50s. And again, it's been through clinical studies there as a plant-based tocolytic agent.
That said, it's easy to conclude that there are many more plants that Jamaicans use as teas without knowing their additional benefits. One can only hope that the tradition of tea drinking continues, bearing in mind all things in moderation.
I started out selling out of the trunk of my car.
If everybody think the same way, everybody going in the same line.
Being an entrepreneur takes everything that you've got.
Weekends? What's weekends? We work on a weekend.
There are real opportunities everywhere you look.
But you have to have the passion.
If I do my part well, then everything is okay.
We believed in ourselves and our families believed in us.
Being convinced of this great opportunity, why we are all here doing what we're doing now.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
Historically, in Western societies, the focus of genealogy was on the kinship and descent of rulers and nobles, often arguing or demonstrating the legitimacy of claims to wealth and power. Some family trees have been maintained for considerable periods. One such is the family tree of Confucius, which has been maintained for over 2,500 years and is listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest extant family tree. In modern times, genealogy became more widespread, with commoners as well as nobility researching and maintaining their family trees. So we decided to look closer at this field on this episode of Career Moves.
My name is Latoya Williams and I'm a genealogist. Genealogy is the study of lineage, pedigrees, so to speak. We research family histories all the way back as far as their records, and we use original sourced records or derivative records.
Can you trace your family tree? Who are your ancestors? Were they famous? Where did they come from? Well, if you want to know more about your family history, then a genealogist can help.
A genealogist is someone who undertakes professional level research for family history. And so that means they research record groups, and there are several types: vital records, immigration records, census records, electoral records, town histories, city directories, and the list goes on. There are several more, but they try to find evidence from this, and they link families throughout the generations.
It's said anyone can become a genealogist, so Latoya tells us just how.
Generally, anyone can become a genealogist. It doesn't matter if they're young or old. However, a lot of genealogists are older. They've normally amassed many years' experience, partially because they are researching their own family history. But you have a lot of genealogists who are excited by the profession. The preponderance of TV shows and all of these other things have made people more aware of the profession, and they want to enter into it too. So we have a good balance.
I actually want to introduce you to your grandfather, Walter Owen.
So I've never seen him or know anything about him. It's just amazing.
Many genealogists work from home, except if they belong to larger, more established firms, and that's not necessarily the case in Jamaica. Most individuals here are private researchers, but a genealogist is not limited to just their home, because they're required to go out into the field and do research. They visit records office like the RGD, they might visit the family history centers like the LDS Family History Center, the National Library, National Land Agency. They visit subjects out in the field, people who they're searching for. So they might have a pretty much like a hill and gully ride experience when they go out there. I think people choose to become genealogists if they're bitten by the bug, so to speak. You have to have a sense of mystery. You want to solve puzzles, to be a sleuth, so to speak, because genealogy is all about research work, investigative work, and history too.
Latoya speaks to how the profession grew on her.
I grew up Anglican, and as you know, a feature of the Anglican churches is the graveyards that are right around the property. So we'd play among the graves when we were younger, and I would always look at them and look for the oldest that I could see. Somebody born in 1790 or 1820, and I thought, wow, wonder what it was like for them growing up then. And so from a very young age, even before I knew myself, I had that mystery, that wonder, that awe about people who died and their lives. I wanted to explore this a little bit more. I think when I was about 10 to 13, I had an impression that, and I know it's funny, but I thought I was an African princess, somebody who had royal lineage, and I said, you know what, I'd love to be able to find that out. And I decided that if I had an opportunity, I would pursue it. I would find out all the way back to my lineage in Africa if I could, and other places. When I was older, my mother brought me to a family funeral. Her uncle Nathaniel had died, and this was giving me a bit clarity, and it was the first time we were actually going there. And I just said, you know what? I don't think anybody else is going to do this. I need to be the family historian. And from then on, I decided to actively begin the research process. And it was very discouraging at first, because I could find no records. And people weren't necessarily open to speaking about the family so much. I think it's because of how they grew up. In Jamaica, we do have this thing where don't ask questions, don't really talk about people's names or so. So for me, that was difficult. It wasn't until some years later that I was able to get somewhere when it came onto the records. Last year, Brigham Young University unrolled a core of programs here in Jamaica and in the rest of the Caribbean, and genealogy research was a part of it. I was doing genealogy research just as best as we could with the resources that were there, but I decided that it was time to enroll in the course and do exactly what I wanted to do. So I started about 14 years ago, from the time of that funeral until now, applying the knowledge. I applied it to my own family tree at first, you know, looking at the different sections, and I've been able to find some wonderful things since then, things that have inspired me. And I see a change in my family now too, where they really want to help in this process. Whatever information you require, they try to assist you as opposed to before.
She also shares with us what goes on in the day-to-day affairs of a genealogist.
So we might have consultations with clients. From our consultation, we will determine what exactly the client wants to pursue. So we come up with what you call the research questions, and we decide what strategy is best to employ to getting those results, what record sets to look up, where to go to get the information, who to contact, and whether or not, from the original scoping, if we're going to go out into the field and do interviews for that family or videos or so. Genealogists and family historians are the keepers of generations. We provide answers to some of mankind's most pressing questions. That's of, who am I? Where did my people come from?
Doggin Global Business Process Outsourcing. Doggin Global can help you with your day-to-day administrative and secretarial needs. We provide solutions for streamlining your accounting and bookkeeping procedures, so you can get on with running your business while knowing that all the accounting and statutory needs are being taken care of. Our BPO services include the following: bookkeeping, preparation of budgets, management accounts, and periodic financial analyses, provision of temporary or part-time accounting assistance, design and implementation of accounting systems, preparation of accounting manuals, payroll services, corporate secretarial services, assisting clients with their business entry strategy into the country, setting up new legal entities, maintaining minutes and other legal documents, non-executive directorships, preparing and submitting annual returns. For additional information, contact us at email info@doggin.global, website www.doggin.global.
This week on Home Sweet Home, we go around Jamaica to visit a few of our most historical homes, each with their own little story. Our first stop, let's find out.
Yes, I would. To get a better understanding of who I am as a person.
Yes, I would, because actually it helps us to get closer to our families, and actually when you go to like the family center, it helps us to know the history of our families.
You know, thinking about families, you get to learn all their cultures and all the food that they eat and how they dress. You know, someday I want to have a family and I'll be able to share with my family all these details of my past family life.
Of course, family history is wonderful. You get to learn more about family, because family is so important. Without family, who are we?
Most definitely. I knew I had a sister who passed before I was born. But the first time I saw her name in a document just excited me, and I made a connection with her right then and there.
It really makes a lot of sense when you understand, where you came from, when you understand,
a little bit more about your ancestors. Sometimes you may find that, you have things in common with them. That's why I love learning about them, because it just makes sense.
For those on the path of or thinking of becoming a certified genealogist, Latoya gives us the prerequisites.
Well, every university program, they have their rudimentary subjects. You do need a good grasp of English because you write a lot of reports. You need to be able to reason well, and so the math, calculus courses would be very beneficial to you. It would exercise that reasoning ability. But history, I would think a prerequisite. Though in the course they would teach you about whatever type of history you're looking at. So if you're doing German records, you're going to go into German history. Part of the course is you finding information along the way to assist you to complete the case studies. Other people can get involved in genealogy too. For example, genetic scientists, there is the whole DNA aspect where from a biological standpoint, they can go into that too.
But just what goes into training?
You have different types of genealogists. Professional genealogists, which is more of where I'm going, they do study. So there is training, specialized training, which can be done through, for example, Family Search has a training program. There are also other programs like Brigham Young University. I'm doing Brigham Young University in particular, in their family history research degree. And after that, I intend to get the international certification, the board certification for genealogists and the International Commission of Accredited Genealogists certifications. Those require a series of exams and case studies to be submitted. Pay those fees, and we wait on the report from the board to see if you will be accredited in that particular area. And so it's not just a broad certification. Is it British, the British Isles? Is it American genealogy? Is it Swedish? Is it German? And currently there are no accredited internationally certified genealogists in the Caribbean, and so I'm on track to becoming the first to do that. What goes on in training? It is a lot of reading. It is a lot of work. It is a professional degree in research, and so the standards are very high and they must be upheld. You're looking for evidence and ways to support that evidence, and it requires going on a lot of different websites, databases to be linked to those in particular. And we're talking during the course of 1 week of study, you might have to visit 20 different sites, pages, to just go through the topic, because how do you do census records and in particular, and they might not be focused on the Caribbean, they might be focused on the US, and all the different states have different requirements. So in this training, it's for a worldwide program. It's not just limited to Jamaica. In fact, it's not specific to it. You will have to further do research and apply it here. I'm currently enrolled in the Brigham Young University, Idaho Family History Research Program. I'm doing an applied associate of science, and it's 60 credits. It takes between 2 to 3 years to complete. I'm currently doing it online, but part of the course requires you to do residency. And so for the first year, I had to go to the center once every week and gather with other people to complete the foundation courses. And then for the second